Better with Bacon says, I think Kamran Pasha should run Star Wars. I think that's all of our votes here.
Well, look,
You will get that.
thank you, Megan. The silly reality of this is all this nonsense, even though I've made all these enemies on YouTube and there's entire videos. Like, if you Google my name, the first thing that comes up, sadly, is a video made by a mentally ill YouTuber about how I'm a fraud. It's the first thing you get. And like any employer who looks for my name is going to see that stupid video, right? Sadly, this is the damage I've had to deal with, my toxicity, that this nonsense is attached to me. However, the other side of this, the good side of it is my contacts inside of Lucasfilm have told me, oh, Favreau knows who you are. John Favreau knows this Patreon. Not only John Favreau, they told me, you'll be surprised to know this. Bob Iger knows about this Patreon. Because you're the only ones actually reporting the stories that they want to get out.
So, Cameron,
You're the only, nobody else is doing it. And it's like, my contact Sparrow actually kind of suspects that they know who they are, that Favreau knows who they are, and has sort of like, as long as you don't release anything that I don't want, I'm going to keep a blind eye. Sort of like my person kind of thinks that they've been uncovered and they've been let go for now, right? And so survived so far 2 years of it. But so, I mean, if nothing else, at least John Favreau apparently knows who I am. I mean, and so maybe he'll offer me a job. I'll take it, John, because I took all these slings and arrows for you for the last 2 years.
yeah,
Well, I
that's
would love to
great.
see that happen.
Hit up my agents, John. I'm represented at Gersh Agency and Untitled Entertainment. Hit up my agents. Give me a job. I'll take it. I know, in all sincerity, I think I'd be pretty good as in Star Wars, and maybe John will reach out. Maybe I'll know. I mean, I can hope and dream. It's not completely impossible.
If you became head of Lucasfilm, if they come to you tomorrow and give you that position, you still have to attract people who have drifted away. And like me, like, okay, Andor, I didn't watch Andor because I canceled my subscription after Obi-Wan. Okay, Andor, everybody says is great, but I got to catch up on it. And then I'm up, I'm down, I missed something. I've kind of drifted away from that orbit. So, you've got to recapture people like that and say, hey, Star Wars is going to be a cultural force again. Everybody needs to either have a Disney Plus subscription, or you need to buy your next ticket. Be sure you are sitting in the theater. Like, how do you come out as a new head of Lucasfilm and let everybody know that, hey, things are different now? If you have drifted away, pay attention. This is a cultural force again. How do you do that?
Well, I mean, it's only gonna come through making good stuff. I mean, Skeleton Crew was
That's it.
the beginning process, right? Sadly, it was the tail end, and now we can see that it was the tail end of Kennedy's reign. We see it now with retrospective. Is what I was saying at the time, that this is just the acolyte was the moment where the one ring was thrown in into the cracks of doom, right? That's when Sauron's power was destroyed, right? But then you have the Saruman period where there's still a cloud hanging over people, and the poor, the happy hobbits, of Skeleton Crew still had to deal with crap that was left over, right? And so that's what we went through. But that was an amazing show, beginning to end. And it was in the spirit of Star Wars. It's the kind of show that we should have been making 5 years ago, right? It should have
Cameron?
probably been the first show they made before even The Mandalorian. But they could have done that in those days. So the way you do it is by making better material. And now with Miss Kennedy no longer there, because her problem always is, even if she's not allowed, like, she had no influence, as far as I'm aware, on Skeleton Crew. I was told she had none, that she had been locked
There's
out of
no
it.
evidence of her fingerprints on it.
Yeah, so that's it. So you don't see any evidence. I mean, I was told that she'd been locked out of that process, and but she and her minions could still try to poison the well. They were trying to poison the well with Skeleton Crew, from the beginning. They right around, they were putting out, well, didn't do as well as Acolyte. They were the ones putting that narrative out, right? And so you need to get her. And once, yes, she has minions, but those minions, once she's gone, those minions are like, they're like the remnant of orcs left over after the ring is destroyed. There's just nothing. There's hanging out calls, but nobody cares anymore, right? And so once she's gone, you no longer have someone disrupting the PR, disrupting the efforts to build bridges with the fans, because she was always there to do that, even if she couldn't create. It's like this: Sauron can't create, but he can poison. He can corrupt, which is what she was doing. And so now if she even tries it now in bitterness, it's going to come across as sour grapes, because she's out. She's lame duck. who cares what she thinks anymore? And the people she was feeding garbage to are not going to take it seriously anymore because they're like, well, thanks for your opinion. Oh, you don't like what they're doing with Andor season 2 or whatever. Well, but who cares? You're going to be gone in 3 months, right? So why should we be pushing this narrative? So yes, that's the thing. Now, the immediate thing to answer your question, Heath, and I'm hopeful for this. I can't. My source is not able to confirm this because they said the legal issues are behind a Chinese wall. They themselves do not have access to what is happening directly in the legal disputes, the primary ones being the Karen McCarthy lawsuit from the Acolyte and the Gina Carano lawsuit from her firing from Mandalorian. And so my source does not have access to what is happening there. So everything I'm going to say now is speculation, right? My speculation is that we will very shortly hear that both the McCarthy and the Carano cases have been settled favorably to those people, right? And one of the best, because they couldn't settle those as long as Miss Kennedy was there. But now that Kennedy is lame duck, because they couldn't say you have to come to an agreement with Gina Carano or even let Gina Carano get her job back, which is what she asked for in the lawsuit. Her lawsuit is not for money. The lawsuit is just the minimum amount, 75,000, whatever, to get it into federal court. She's not asking for money. She's asking in the lawsuit for her job back. But you can't, if they were to give her that, then it shows that Kathleen Kennedy isn't in charge, right? Because how could they give her a job back when Kathleen Kennedy personally had her fired? So that is embarrassing and humiliating for everyone involved, including Iger, because they're like, people will be like, what are shenanigans of this? You've given Gina Carano her job back, but Kennedy fired her. So has Kennedy officially apologized to her? Has Kennedy no control over this company? And then people start asking questions. Even the media would start asking questions. Now, if tomorrow, hypothetically, Gina Carano were to settle and were to get her job back at Star Wars as Cara Dune, if that would happen, no one in the media would question it because they'd say, well, Miss Kennedy's out. She is really no longer in charge of longer term decision making. So she may be unhappy with his choice, but she won't be there anymore when Miss Carano comes back into the office, right? That's what the media is going to say. So even as a lame duck president, uh, there's no more reason to not settle, right? And so my hope and prayer and personal expectation is that they will settle and Ms. Carano will get her job back. And that, to answer your question, Heath, will be, I think, a major sign for most of the fandom that things have changed. Gina Carano coming back is a sign of victory. And
Oh, big time.
to support that, I want to tell you something. I haven't had a chance because I've been driving. One of my Patreon members, Stacey Ballard, is a wonderful source of a lot of information. He finds really interesting. It's a he, Stacey, but it's a he. Stacey finds really interesting articles that I've never noticed. Other people don't notice. So he found an interesting article about how Disney is now creating for some project an openly devout Christian woman character, right? For some project. So this is the first time in years that they've made a project with someone who's proud and openly Christian. I mean, so I'm not even Christian and I'm happy to hear this, right? I mean, but that's an example. Why is this coming out today? Because no one would believe that Kathleen Kennedy would let a religious, conservative Christian character on under her watch or other people. And so, so it's like, now just the idea that Miss Kennedy is out broadly suggests that the culture of Disney is going to change so that they can say that, we can have a Christian character. It's okay again, right? Because people like that are leaving. So that's a sign of it.